All right, everyone, the time is now. We are live. I took 5 minutes to give you the messages that we had 5 minutes left. That's my bad. It should have just been a thank you five. Oh, here's Jules. Here's Jules. Okay. Oh, good. Instagram is alerting my followers that I am live. And now I'll just sit here frozen in time until she's here.
Hello.
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 Hello. And welcome. Oh, go for it.
I was just saying I'm jealous. I should have put in my good microphone too, but I didn't.
Well, it just sits like right here, and I like fighting with cords. It's my favorite. So I just like to I just like to I just like to rearrange my cords. It makes me feel like very professional, and I mean,
Oh, I like that one. I like that
yeah,
one.
that
Yeah.
looks like I went on vacation.
Yeah.
What up, Stephanie? Are you ready for
I
the
just
One Tree Hill show? Stephanie is my best friend from childhood, so she probably watched the show with me for the first time.
love that.
A little
100.
recap on why we're here. We time traveled with Theo James, and it wasn't fun. And
It
then
was not.
we tried to get Tom Hiddleston to take us to a better timeline, and he wouldn't. So I had to find joy in something, and that joy turned out to be One Tree Hill. I don't even think my microphone's working, because usually if my microphone is working, then I have to be using these headphones, and I don't have to use the headphones. So, oh wait, I couldn't hear myself, but I could hear you.
Can you hear yourself now?
I can hear myself.
Okay, good.
So we'll be joining you every Tuesday to do 3 episodes of One Tree Hill. It is Jules's first time. Going to the river court, and I guess it's her first time hearing Gavin DeGraw, because she doesn't like it. And
No, it's not that I don't like it. I think because it was played so much on the radio back then that I just am just like, no.
Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, because I find him to be delightful. I find that theme song to be delightful. I'm not actually sure if any of my tech is working, but I'm glad that you can hear me. And I find the theme song to be delightful, and I find my gift of music delightful, and Penelope loves it. When we're just like all cuddled up and she's napping, and like I start a new episode and I'm like, oh girl, are you in a dead sleep? And she's like, what? And I'm like, I don't want to be anything other than what I've been trying to be lately. And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, lady?
Friends, if you did not see my stories, every time Natalie sings the theme song, we take a drink of whatever beverage is nearest.
Today it's water, because that truck stop booze was icky. And I couldn't do it twice.
No, I don't blame you. Life's too short to drink bad booze.
Life was too short. All right.
Okay.
So episode 4. I know where I want to start, but where do you want to start?
Should we introduce ourselves to each other's audiences?
Shit. Yeah, do that.
I cut you off because I was like, hi friends, I'm Julia Washington, host of Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous, where we analyze pop culture through the lens of race or gender, and sometimes both. And Natalie's been a guest on my show several times, and I'm thrilled to be here because I am thrilled to be here.
Thank you for being thrilled to be here.
I'm so thrilled.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Katona, and I'm the host and producer of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. And Dan Scott is a man that I have tolerated before, and therefore we are talking about One Tree Hill. This segment may one day be named a thing. So you can tell your friends what you're doing on Tuesday night, and what you're doing on Tuesday night is watching the show, and then there will be a name. I don't want
Yes.
to commit to it yet
Because
because right now
we're still
I'm
in
just
conversations.
spitballing words. Like I'm
Mhm.
like a ska poet, and I'm like, okay, 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 okay.
Do you mean
Um,
like a beat poet?
sure,
Okay,
sure.
it's fine.
um, let's talk about Deb, my hero, my one true love, Deb Scott.
Yeah.
So this is the first time that you got to meet Deb Scott, and I just
Yes.
want to know what you think of my friend Deb, because I kept talking about her.
I really like her. I also love how like in episode 4, I think it's towards the end of the episode, she goes to Karen's cafe
Hmm.
and like Karen's like, you could tell Dan to send his spies, blah 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 blah. And like Deb was like, nope, just
No,
here because
hold
I
up.
really feel like we should know each other better since our children share DNA. And I was like, good on you, girl, because your husband is trash.
We stand mature Deb. We stand
Yes.
a woman who's just like, look at this trashy man I married, and I travel for my job so I don't have to sleep with him. and and from then on, Deb just like continuously points out how Dan has ruined everyone's lives, including
Well, cause
mine.
yeah, because he has. He's
He has.
trash.
He has. I really want my Daria t-shirt to be in here.
Well, then it's just a boob shot. So really, it's what do you want, your face or your boobs?
I just wanted everyone to know that I'm cool and I watched Daria. Uh,
I wish that Instagram, like I get that it has to be half screen, but it does
I get
like
it.
change what you know,
Yeah,
whatever.
I know. Why do I plan outfits? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I always
Um,
wear a tropical shirt because I'm just like, yeah, it's easy.
so I love Deb. She's a fucking hero.
Yep.
And also, last week we talked about how like Karen was too broke to afford running water. And I don't even, and this week when there was a water issue in the home, I was like, I don't think Karen's broke. I think Karen has untreated ADHD like I do, because she's like, I'm pretty sure I paid that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So I paid the water bill, and
I
you're
paid
just
the
like,
water bill. Luke, I don't know.
but here's a gallon of water to rinse your hair just to chillin'. And fun
Just,
fact, I also have gallons of water in my storage unit because I don't know. My parents were doomsday preppers, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I have a Brita. Is that the same thing? I guess I'll be cool for at least one shower. So I just wanted to stand up for Karen. I don't think it's that she's broke. I think she's just frazzled, and same.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, because okay, so this is actually jumping to episode. I made
I
notes.
made notes too. I think I'm still on 4.
Yeah, you are. Because my
Yeah.
point actually, I think, was, oh, maybe it is episode 4.
Episode 4 is the house party.
Right. I think maybe it's in episode 5. I thought I wrote it down. Oh, it is episode 5.
I mean, we can talk about them all at the same time. Like
That's
literally, like
true. That's true because they all kind of are a clump. So, like, in episode 5, yeah, um, Lucas is like, I'm gonna change my last name from Scott because fuck that guy. Because
fuck that guy.
because Dan's like, you don't deserve to have the last name, blah blah. And then like Karen shares the story on like why she didn't know that Dan was gonna be a dirtbag. Like
Right.
she thought he would show up to the hospital and still like whatever.
Yeah.
And like so like that for me is a thing because
Yeah.
I'm just like, I mean, you can be. I'm not pro like giving the last name unless there's like a ring on it
Yeah. Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I don't know. I thought that was very early 2000s, like reaffirming the whole like, whatever the dad's name is what the child's name should be,
right.
which
And
isn't always, which I don't, I just don't want to have a different name for my kid when I'm a single parent.
well, no, like I get that too. And then Dan's not around, but then Keith is, so we just do a daddy swap.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Because
Do you
Keith
think
was there the whole time and
so now I have questions about the
okay.
characters' motives and their inner workings because now I'm
Wait,
like in.
But you've seen this a billion times. How do you still
No.
have questions?
No, I do not rewatch things. I have
That's
seen
right.
it in its entirety one time, and then I
That's
moved
right.
on.
That's right. Hi,
So,
Mario.
hi, Mario. Do you think that Nathan can't get over the fact that Lucas probably actually got the better dad? Do you think Nathan's aware that like Lucas got to have a supportive, like loving and chill man in his life, and like Nathan got
Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah. Because, like, Deb tells Karen in episode 4, I think, when she goes to the cafe, you know, you've done a really good job with Lucas. I'm really impressed by that. Which
Right.
is like a compliment, but also backhanded at the same time, because
Right.
heaven forbid single parents like raise good children. But yeah, I could see that because Dan's so awful. Like
He's
to the
like,
point where like Deb's like, you know, maybe if you stop fighting with like maybe if they would stop fighting with each other if their father would like foster a relationship, but he clearly has no desire to do that at
right.
all.
And I just like, and again, we're jumping in and the kids are like 15, so I don't need to know everything.
Yeah.
But like, what a master of doubling down. It's like, I've knocked you up, but I still want to go play ball. But then I knocked Deb up, and Deb's family has money.
Yeah. I
That's
got
why.
that from the episode where I think it's episode 5 where they're
Yeah.
sitting around the table,
Hi, Holly.
or maybe
Yeah,
it's
they're
episode
sitting around. six. Oh yeah, that
It
awful.
might be episode 6.
Yeah,
I'm
that
frozen.
awful business dinner where I wrote for my notes. I was like, ugh. Business people are gross. Like, could you imagine going to a party and it's all just like business people in their suits being like, I sell cars.
I've been in that world before. It's not fun. And then I always end up finding the fun people, and then we take all the booze that's not for sale and make a second party somewhere else.
Well,
That's the way to do it. But at that party, like, what was my thought?
that business people are gross.
I mean, yes, Anne.
Let's see if I have. Oh, I wrote that Dan is so fucking rude. Like, he's just so fucking rude. Like, no one thought that you were all going to show up to the same party that you've been showing up to for years. Like, this is a standing prom thing that they do. We're cool bearded bros. We love One Tree Hill, and we love Gavin DeGraw. Well, I do. I
didn't
want to be anything other than what I be. Try and be lately.
Well, and
like,
I think, like, when
it's like their grown-up prom, so they go every year.
Yeah, and then when they're like, "Oh, we're in the middle of the table. That's interesting. We're never this close." Blah blah. It's like, yeah, because y'all have the same last name.
You all
so
have
they
the same last
they
name.
assumed that you were all actually on good terms. I've been in situations like that because of my situation, which is solo parenting, and when I've done things with the other side of the family, they all like when you go to the venue, they don't know the family drama, and so they just assume everyone's good because everyone has the same last name and sticks you all in the same row. No one knows that you
ditched your other kid for money.
Yeah.
Dan. And then like he just walks up and he truly can't like he can't just be like chill about it.
No.
Because like Karen and Keith are trying to be chill about it. They're trying to not side eye one another. And Deb's like, this can be fine.
Yeah.
This can be fine. You can still get laid, Dan. Just don't open your mouth. And then he immediately opens his mouth and says something shitty.
Yeah. And Deb is so nice. Like she tells Keith, like, you and Karen look really nice together. And like you guys, you know, like basically the equivalent of the 2022, you guys vibe, you should date.
Yeah. Well, because here's the thing too, like as the single in-law, like you like form this bond with your in-law where it's like, guess what, bro? Sucks to suck. I'm part of the package.
Yeah.
And like you have to take me to plays and you have to take me to dinners and you have to like see me in my pajamas at 9 a.m. in your house and I'm like, where are the bagels? Like, you chose to marry into my family, and like, sorry, but I'm not sorry. So like,
Yeah.
I can imagine like Keith almost like living this dual life where he's doing like Christmases and Thanksgiving part of the way with like Dan and Nathan and Deb, probably when Nathan was really little.
Little.
And
Mm-hmm.
now they're all so hostile that Deb's like, remember when you were my ally in my house? And Keith's like, fucking divorced my brother.
Yeah, he's trash. Stop. The other thing I noted too from episode 4 was how Nate is a little mini Dan,
Oh,
because
yeah.
when he crashes Peyton's car, and then
Mm-hmm.
it tells Nathan or tells Lucas, like, I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't driving this car and I have an alibi anyway because he
Right.
owes me. And you're just like, this is literally like, I'm so uncomfortable with the way that Dan behaves and how it seeps into Nate that it makes me feel like
Correct.
that's my whole, like, that's like every, oh, not every, that's a lot of interactions I've had in life where it's just like, you're stupid, why did you think that you were supposed to, you know what I mean? And I'm just like,
Well,
I don't like it. I don't like it.
and then the
Like, I get
aftermath.
that Dan's supposed to be like the character that we hate, and
Yeah.
like he's the villain who sort of pushes everyone to come together. I get that. But the
Right.
problem is that so many men in reality are like Dan that it's
True.
almost, it's like too real.
Well, and I think when I was like younger and I was watching it, I was like, well, thank God I'm never gonna know a man like Dan Scott, and I'm gonna go to school and only respectful men will penetrate me. And no, that's not what happened. They don't
That's
tell
not what
you.
happened.
Like, Whitey doesn't like break the fourth wall and he's like, listen, hey, you on the couch with the brownie batter ice cream. Remember when Ben and Jerry's had brownie batter ice cream?
Yeah,
Bring it
it
back,
was
bros.
so good.
So fucking good.
It
The
was
core
really
one
good.
isn't as good. Bring back
No,
the original.
because the core's too frozen.
Yes, the
It's like you
cores aren't
can't,
good. We don't
you
like
know,
them. We don't
and that
like
shit needs
them.
to be blended in because the core's so solid that you can't really, you just like end up eating around it.
Yeah. I bet you Whitey loved brownie batter ice cream because in my head, he's always on my side.
Yeah,
And
he's a good guy, even though he does say some weird shit
he
sometimes. You're
says
just like,
weird
okay,
shit.
old white
Weird old
man.
white man's shit. But like Dan, or not Dan, Whitey never broke that fourth wall and he's like, hey, you, the one who's pinning all of your hopes and dreams on Lucas Scott, the one who likes Chad Michael Murray and watched that Cinderella movie. You do realize that all men are Dan Scott deep down.
Deep down
they
inside.
they all have the potential to be Dan Scott. You're
Yeah.
crossing your fingers that they're Keith Scott. And then like one day you wake up and you're like, fuck, did I marry Dan Scott? And you did.
And it
And
kind
this
sorry,
is
go
your
ahead.
cautionary tale.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of reaffirms that idea that good guys can't be successful,
Yes.
which is not also not
Yes.
true. Like, pop culture really loves that trope of like the good guy is downtrodden, but he's got a big heart,
He's got a big
big old
heart.
heart, but he's
He's
so
too
good
respectful
that he
like he's
can't
too respectful
deal.
to fuck you. He's
Yeah,
too respectful to make any sort of money.
yeah.
And he's too respectful to wear anything but denim. He's Keith Scott. All of the women on One Tree Hill walked onto that set and had a huge thing for Uncle Keith. And
Oh,
like
100%. Oh, wait, is this
Hillary,
from the podcast you're listening to or
yeah.
no?
And Hillary
Okay.
Burton's husband is Dean Morgan. He was Denny Duquesne in Grey's Anatomy. And the
Okay.
age gap between her and Dean is the same age gap as her and Uncle Keith. So she's like, I mean, he was like a viable option for me. I was
Yeah.
20. Like, and she's like, and I'm just like sitting here looking at him, like,
What's the age gap?
how? Oh,
Nick and Crazy Rich Asians was a
Nick
nice
and
guy. Yes,
Crazy
he
Rich,
was a nice guy.
was he?
Yes, and you know what? I love Henry Golding. I think he's so cute and adorable.
She
Also, he's
Annie's
team
having a
Nick.
meltdown because she didn't know that she's had his children.
Oh my
Annie, their child is in the 5th grade. You need to be listening to Drama Queens. I'll tag them right now. So Annie, you can find the podcast.
Yeah.
I have no shame.
What is their age gap? Do you know?
Like 14-ish years. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sorry. Hillary Burton took Annie's man. That's what happened. I get it, Annie. I get it because I'm trying to think of anyone who's taken my man. But I don't like men anymore. So I'm just having a really hard time. And Lisa Bonet threw Jason Momoa back. So I have a shot.
Yeah, Annie's hot. And also Aquaman's going to be on this weekend. And I'm just like, can we not?
Oh my gosh, Maria, do you know the tea? Did they fall in love on The Walking Dead, like all covered in zombie goop? Do you know the tea?
Mario, type faster. Natalie
Mario,
needs
were
to
you
know.
there? Were you there when Hillary and Dean fell in love? Weave us a tale. What were we talking about? Oh, Uncle Keith. Yeah,
Uncle Keith.
Too nice to be successful. It's truly.
He says no way. This is way after.
Oh,
okay.
Here's another thing I need to know. Why?
Oh, but also hold on, Nick from Crazy Rich Asians, generational wealthy.
Generational wealth.
So there's that little caveat there too. Okay, go ahead.
I feel like I need to make this disclaimer. I need you to know that I love the Crazy Rich Asians series.
Did you read you read the book?
I listened to the book because when I see the movie first, hi Bridget.
Hi Bridget.
When I see the movie first, I listen to the books because I already know what's going to happen. So my eyes can't be doing that twice. And I made a boo-boo and I assumed that something as opulent and rich and beautiful as Crazy Rich Asians on film was written by a woman. And then I started to listen to that book and I was like,
Kevin
this
Kwan.
is how men speak. And I looked.
Yeah.
Because
Kevin
it was
Kwan.
something about the way they said, like, her friend's nose was really pointed.
Yeah.
But she could still get Ben to look at her, and I was like, thank God.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Did they, in the audio book version, do they read the footnotes too? Because, like, half the book is footnotes.
I wonder if they do. I don't know.
The reason why the books are so thick is because it's like this much text on the page and then this much footnotes.
Are they sassy footnotes? I love sassy footnote.
They're fun and funny, and it made it for me, but I read that series within in a week.
Oh, about Nathan being ruined.
Yeah, so, Nathan.
The aftermath.
Which makes me sad because when he's with Haley, is it real? Is he just playing her? Because it feels like he's just playing her, but then also it feels like this could really truly be him.
Right. Is she gonna fix him? Is she?
Well, we can't do the women fixing the men thing. That's got to be done. But I understand this is 2003. What were you gonna say about Nathan being ruined?
Oh. The aftermath of that and the true horrible consequence is Deb immediately takes the blame for that. And she's like, oh my God, I was never here and I was on the road and I let
Dan, the car accident?
Yeah. And I let Dan ruin our kid.
Yeah.
And now I'm giving up my high profile, rich lady career because I got to be here reminding Nathan what it's like to feel.
Yeah, to not be a garbage human.
God damn it.
Yeah, women always having to drop their careers because men are not raising the children well. I don't know. That's a generalization. I don't know how often that happens, but it's we know that women give up their careers to raise children, period, because that's the default in our country, which honestly, it's whatever. We don't have that kind of time. But I do when Karen tells Lucas later in that episode 5, when he's upset about his name, and he's like, I see how they live. They have a beach house. They have this huge house. They have all these things. The least he could have done is given you money. Why not? Least. Yeah. Why not let him at least do that? And she was like, if I had taken money, he would have wanted a say in how you were raised. And I was like, that's it, because he's a controlling, manipulative mother trucker, and so he wouldn't be able to be like, here's just some money so that way you could feed our child that I left you with because I impregnated somebody else.
Because Dan Scott was my second stroke with narcissism, and he owns everyone around him. Yeah. And everything that they do is a reflection on him.
Yeah.
And so Deb has to be perfect and Nathan has to be an Olympian or something.
Yeah, like when he made that comment about how like she's like, I don't even know what his interests are anymore, and Dan's like basketball. Like he's
basketball
not
dad.
allowed to have anything else in his life. Like
He
that's
loves
sad.
basketball.
That made me sad when he said that, and he thinks that that's something to be proud of, to only be involved in basketball and not be a well-rounded person and have other interests.
Can we talk about how I am now quickly aware that Peyton in 2003 is all of us in 2022 when
Yeah.
she screams, when he goes, you don't even want this necklace? And she's like, you mean the leash?
Yeah.
Like, put that on a t-shirt.
Right?
And then she's like in cheer practice with her pom-pom screaming, what is this for?
Yeah.
Why does this matter?
Yep.
Why are we playing basketball and hoorah, rah, rah? I was like, Peyton is all of us.
Yeah.
I am Peyton. By
Yeah.
the time I get to 2022, thought I was a Brooke Davis, but now I'm like, girl, I see you. None of this fucking matters. I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
My mom didn't even have to be in a car accident for me to know that.
Yeah, which by the way, her whole like driving through the red light thing,
Yeah.
like that is peak angsty teenager shit and also not safe.
Also not safe. Also, I feel like it's a privilege point. What's up, Steph?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a privilege point. Like, I feel like, and believe me, I went through this stage too, and this is about how long it lasted. My mother and my sister got me pissed off about The Sims or Lost or whatever else was going on in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I rushed up to my room and I was like, I'm gonna be angsty. I'm gonna be angsty, and I'm gonna make them pay for all the pain and all of it. And I took a pair of scissors off of my all baby me wanted was to be Peyton. You know what, Annie? I thought I was Brooke. So I took scissors off of my desk and I like sliced myself once, and then I went, dumbass, that hurts. And then that was the end for me and my angst. I was never going to be Ellie on Degrassi. I went, dumbass. Then I laughed at myself because I'm a sicko. I was like,
I mean,
you dumbass, you just self-harmed and you don't even have like, you're like,
yeah. Yeah. It's life's hard.
Life's hard, man.
Hormones are everywhere. Figuring out all the things, like who knows?
Also,
I don't know.
Another way that I'm Peyton, it's all coming to me.
Okay, tell me.
Mixtapes are also my love language.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing that someone could give me more than a compiled playlist of like, hey, these are songs I think that you'd vibe to. One time I had a man give me like a stack. He's like, I just went through my thousands and thousands of iTunes songs, and I knew that you had a 6-hour road trip coming. So here you go. One of the CDs was the Book of Mormon.
That's cute.
Soundtrack. So like I'm driving to my aunt's house, cry laughing at the Book of Mormon soundtrack, and then it's still on my iPod. Like I have my original iPod because it has all the good music about it.
Does it still work?
Annie, we're only talking about season 1 because Jules hasn't seen this.
Yeah, I've never seen this show before. I've literally only watched episodes 1 through 6.
1 through 6. But yeah, I mean, I told Jules that like my favorite plot line of all early 2000s TV was it was all just a vehicle for musicians who really needed a bump in their career to like get noticed.
That's all the 2000s. Remember, didn't I say this last time? Like, oh, sorry, friend. Sorry. Like, didn't I say last time like Lady Gaga was on The Hills and like everyone just forgot
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
But go ahead.
So I'm driving to my aunt's, I'm laugh crying to the Book of Mormon, and then like that playlist is still on my iPod that I cannot throw away. Like it'll be buried with me.
It doesn't even work. Like Apple is like, we don't support this device anymore.
I have to charge it in the car. And then I have to be like, I wonder if that's charged.
Yeah.
Oh, now everybody giving me spoilers.
Stop it! Like, is that even real? You know I can check on IMDb, Mario.
God. I want people to put fake spoilers in the feed. I love that idea. Well, don't fill
How
it
about
with
how,
real
listen,
spoilers. Please just like, because I won't know.
how
Like,
about
I
how
believe
Mario?
that. I was like,
Yeah.
Mario, stop. She hasn't seen it. Oh.
Mario posted Tuesday, Sunday night. He goes, "The way you capture Captain, or it's Captain America Eve, put out your milk and cookies for Captain America or something like that." And I was like, "Is that how that works?" BRB, getting my milk and cookies.
Excuse me. Is that how I get America's ass?
Yeah,
Like, with a little milk and cookies? I've been having milk and cookies every night, Chris Evans. You be missing
yeah,
out.
yeah.
This show gets so nuts for a second. I thought, again, I'll believe anything. If you just
Yeah.
say it with confidence, I'm like, yeah, when Chris Evans showed up and he murdered Brooke, weird.
Oh my gosh, you
Um,
guys.
but so I love the mixtape. So good on Peyton. However,
Yeah, that was really cute.
there is one more important question for episode 5.
Okay.
Why is it that instead of just starting a grown-up league of basketball, because I hear that you can do that,
Children.
he just fucking orchestrates this whole father-son game just to shame his other son, be like, I'm not your father, and Keith's not your father, and no one's your father on this team, and to shove his own child. He shoved him.
He's a terrible human. Like, I would like to believe that I would have the strength to go toe to toe. Well, because I did have the strength to go toe to toe.
Yeah.
That's why I believe it. But like, he's so awful as a parent that I'm just like, Deb, I need you, Deb, to be like, you are awful to us. I hate you. You're terrible to our son, and you need to leave. And if you don't leave, that's fine. And then she changed the locks and not tell him. That's what I need Deb to do.
I wrote down, oh my God, Dan checked his own kid. Deb should go to file papers tomorrow. Like, how do you go home with the man who shoved your kid in a very public fashion?
Yeah.
And then was like, I'm in it for the game. I want to win.
It's so, there's something so gross about a grown man still sort of living his high school glory.
Yes. We get it, Dan. We know. You played basketball. We know. I need you to know that we know.
Yes, we know.
Why aren't the cars enough?
Also, does Dan ever blink in the show? Because
No.
I've yet to see him blink, and that to me feels like very
villains don't blink.
And it makes me even more uncomfortable with him because he just does this like, I'm talking to you. You are I am, and this is
Dan is big Republican.
Yeah.
Put it on a t-shirt with his face. Put it on a t-shirt above him shoving his own child during a basketball game.
Oh my gosh.
While he's whispering to the other son, you're not mine.
Yeah. You're not Keys. How dare you? You I guess you better show up good on the basketball game because you have the Scott name, but then in the same breath tells him he's trash and disowns him. Like, what?
How uncomfortable were the other dads who were like, we were just here to like maybe slap our kid on the ass and be like, yeah, maybe I'll score a basket. Like, we're old, we're fat, and we've leaned in. Oh my God, you completely that's who did this crazy thing, Dan or Trump, and yes. I need you to know that will be our season wrap-up game.
Yes, oh my God.
Oh my God, that's our YouTube wrap-up game.
That's our YouTube wrap-up game.
Friends, if you hang out with us enough, we're going to be doing bonus shit on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing that Time Traveler's Wife skit where I go back in time to meet Jules and not gaslight a child. And we're going to do Dan or Trump. Dan, Scott, or Trump.
Yes, and we should have panelists for that one. And
issue
points every time someone gets it right and see who wins in the end. Yeah.
You're invited to that.
You're invited to this.
With it.
I love this idea. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Okay. Episode 6.
We didn't even talk about Brooke. Or wait, Brooke was naked in his car last week. We didn't talk about Brooke being naked.
Brooke was naked in his car last week. Did we do enough on the whole, I basically trashed 2 cars and walked away? Did we talk about that enough?
So, like, this is literally what
That's
happens. Like,
episode 4.
Peyton's literally sitting there, and he's like, oh, wait, what's that kid's name? I wrote it down, and then I said that he's like,
is it Tim or
Tim is the Gretchen Wiener of this show.
Is it Tim? Is that his name?
Wherever or wherever Nate is making a bad decision, there's Tim with his hair full of secrets. Being like, that's fine, Nate. It's fine. Yeah,
I'll be your alibi.
Peyton's car.
It's fine.
I stole Peyton's car. And then, like, Peyton's like, you just gave Tim my car? Also, you didn't. He went home with Brooke. And he's like, And she's like, you crashed my car? And he's like, well, you drew a mean comic strip for the paper. You didn't name us. But
like, the two aren't the same dude, because you literally committed a felony. You literally committed a felony. That's like a legit... Which we know that you get away with, because in the first episode, you got to fucking walk away from that weird bus shit that was happening.
Yes. Also, we didn't talk about the non-sex tape with Karen. I literally thought it was a sex tape when it...
Yeah, that was so innocent. She's in high school. Like, think about when you were in high school. I don't know if you did. I didn't do this because I didn't date in high school, because I thought dating in high school was stupid. But she's like prom queen and king, and she's clearly like, and Dan clearly has made promises to her that she believes.
Right. When it comes to me dating in high school, I waited until I graduated college to fuck the men I knew in high school. So I don't know where that puts me on the spectrum.
I don't know either. I had 2 boyfriends. I had 2 different boyfriends in high school, and both times I was like, "This is dumb. Why am I doing this? Like, it's so dumb."
So, like, they play that drinking game, and Nate's like, never have I ever had a dad that doesn't want me. And I'm like, Nate, you're just throwing shade at your own asshole father. Like, that's your dad.
No, he said, never have I ever been... Do I have a dad that wishes I was a stain instead?
Born. Yeah.
A stain on... But here's the thing. They're like, we're playing I Never. So when did it turn from I Never to Never Have I Ever?
Maybe there were copyrights. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to be edgy.
Edgy. I never. Brooke, never have I ever. Oh, yes, I did that. And you're just like, wait, what was it?
And then that extra, who we never see again, shames Brooke because she loves vibrators. Brooke was the only one who knew. Yeah. Brooke was the only one who knew how to actually get what she wanted from the bedroom. Yeah. And she knew it early, and she knew it quick. And she knew that she could fuck a lot of guys in high school, but it was going to be her trusty toy that got her there.
Yeah.
Shame her.
You know what kind of bothers me too, though, about the whole Brooke character is that you know that she wasn't written to be the progressive character. It feels like she was written to be the show slut, and then when they pull out the slut word, she gets offended. But really what should have happened was that she was like the female empowerment we all wish we were in high school.
So they talk about this on Drama Queens. Okay. So basically, Brooke wasn't an original character. They wrote her in because they were like, everyone is so angsty and sad in this show. We need someone to crack jokes and say outlandish things. And then they wrote Brooke Davis. And then I wrote my entire personality based on her.
Nice.
She's a sex positive
queen. Sex positive queen, absolutely. Because I'm watching this, I'm thinking if I had watched this in 2003, I would have fallen into that stereotype of thinking that she was, oh my god. And now I'm watching it and I'm like, holy shit. She, like, it makes me sad that she was probably treated in, like, headlines and stuff at the time poorly.
Could you imagine the memes? Could you imagine the memes?
Seriously, but now it's like, no, girl, like you were how all of us should have been.
Well, 100%. And
with that confidence level at a fucking 12.
Eventually, and I think again, it's with hindsight, but eventually, like Hillary and Joy, who plays Haley, they tell her all the time, they're like, Sophia, you were the brains and like the wisdom of the show. You were the person who brought us all together and made us focus up on what was actually important, whether it was through joking or like giving some levity, or just like literally checking us, like being all like, well, I want a boyfriend. I don't want one as like mean as Nathan.
For real, like she's got a lot of depth to her that and as I've told Natalie, and I will share with all of you here, I am now 100% into the show.
And
like the first 3 episodes a little iffy, and then after 4, 5, and 6 I was like, I'm in. So at some point we're gonna cover the whole series because I'm in.
We could trade off.
We have to do other stuff in between so that way we don't lose the audience. But yeah, it was definitely like, oh man, Brooke was ahead of her time.
Yeah.
One of us.
Okay. Brooke getting those illegal pain meds. Can I just say that episode 6
is off? It's like unhinged.
But it's one of my favorite episodes because it's the beginning of them all being on the same team.
Yeah, that's actually what I wrote. I was like, okay, so if it didn't happen in episode 6, like that's the point in time where it needed to happen.
Right.
Because any later in the season and the whole series just wouldn't work. At some point you needed to throw them in a situation where they all sort of create this bond together.
Oh my God, thank God we don't live anywhere near that town where that guy from like On the Brink or some Disney movie like had a gun and was like with his bros and he's like, we're gonna kill some Scots tonight. I'm sorry, what?
And it was like a starter gun. It wasn't even like a real gun. I was like, that's, you guys are weird. And like, okay. I wrote down Deb, Dan, Karen, Keith. These people are supposed to be like, what, 35? And I just like had a moment of like, I'm sorry. People ask me if my child is my sibling. So I will now take the position of being offended by everybody and everything. I'm frozen. Hold on. Here we go.
You got to do the I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah, there we go. So now I will take the position forever and always and die on this hill that I will be offended anytime anybody's supposed to be playing a 34-year-old and they look older than me.
Yeah.
Granted, I understand this was 20 years ago. However, I thought these parents were in their 40s until we learned that they were teenagers when they had these children.
Oh, I think Maura Kelly looks good. I think it's the fashion and the hairstyles. I also think it's the fact that you're having... So James Laverty, who plays Nathan, was the youngest at 17. He was the only one who needed a chaperone on set. Oh. The rest of them were like in that 19, 20 bubble.
He's a year younger than me.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, go ahead. I have IMDb open, so that way.
And thanks to Mario, we know that he recently got married. And good for you, James. Good for you.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You looked good.
Yeah. I think he looks better now than he did then. Personally.
I mean, truly.
Yeah.
The parents on Rugrats were supposed to be 32, and that resort haunts me. That reality, not resort. Sorry, Andy, that I'm reading your comments in real time.
They were supposed to be 32?
Yeah, listen, and some of them had triangle hair.
This is why, okay, listen, I understand
Grandpa
that the boomers...
was only supposed to be like 44.
No. I understand that boomers think that they're the best generation in the world, but I'm sorry. Those motherfuckers looked older than they actually were. I'm an old millennial.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know how old I am.
I am, as we discovered last week, Midwest Hollywood hot. I'm not Hollywood hot, but I am Midwest Hollywood hot.
I will also join you in that category because I used to be Hollywood hot and now I am Midwest Hollywood hot.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, I think
honestly,
so.
It's a lot of low pressure.
Oh my God! According to IMDb, our friend James Lafferty's favorite musicians include Eminem.
Lose yourself in the music the moment you won't ever let it go.
That's so funny because of what we learned last week about Eminem.
Hi, Life Unplugged. I love Eminem. What did we learn last week about Eminem?
That they were they changed the opening.
Oh, that's right.
Credits
because they literally
the 8 Mile
the opening credits for 8 Mile because 8 Mile was so hot, and then they made the show grittier, and then the OC came around and they were like, forget the gritty, we gotta sex it up, get their tits out.
So it's funny because okay, yes, I did not watch the show when it aired originally, but there's something about it that is comforting to me, right? Because we talk about, like, you don't comfort watch shows, I comfort watch the shit out of
I'm
TV.
gonna start though.
And
I'm gonna start loving myself.
Yeah,
everyone.
I literally am so sorry I didn't tell you sooner, but we just became friends like 5 months ago. So like, sorry. But there's something about watching this show that really, I don't know what's going to happen next, but there's still like a comfort to it. Yeah. And I think it's because it taps into that nostalgia and that feeling. Because I was 19 when the show dropped. So I was like right out of high school and, you know, feeling like shit about my life because parents just don't understand. And so like it gives me sort of that feeling again of like what it was like to be young and free. And I feel like that could still be achievable in this age I'm in.
Because can I tell you, so
you can tell me anything, I'm here.
The last seasons, there's a 5-year jump. They don't do college at all. They graduate and then we do 5 years later and they're all grown people living their grown lives. And somehow those fuckers got better. That's actually when I enjoyed the show the most, is after the 5-year jump.
Oh, interesting. I wonder why they made the decision to jump like that.
Probably because they knew that college is what ruined Saved by the Bell.
But Felicity takes place in college and that show's hella good.
I haven't watched Felicity, so
I can't. Gilmore Girls moves into college and it was good.
Yeah, Rory sucks, though.
Rory does suck.
Rory sucks. Speaking of parents, so a big theme is Dan projecting his dreams onto
Nate.
Like Nate. And then Lucas feeling like he was the biggest cock block to Karen's dreams, if she had any.
Yeah. Yeah, that came up in episode 5.
And
with the whole like I want to lose. Yeah. Actually, that's one of the reasons. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I cut you off.
I think this is something that like women in our age bracket can really relate to when it comes to our mothers, where it's like we're not really sure if our mothers actually wanted to have us or if they just like ended up having us because of society and what else were you supposed to fucking do, right? And whatever. Like I feel that like whenever my mom's doing hot girl shit, I'm like, man, you could have been doing hot girl shit all along.
Yeah, everyone
had to raise me.
Everyone could have been Jane Fonda.
Everyone could have been Jane Fonda, except for we treated Jane Fonda like a fucking criminal, and we just made up lies upon lies. And then I grew up believing that she was like a fucking criminal, and then my mom yelled at me for seeing Monster-in-Law.
So it's so funny because, you know, my folks also used to kind of talk shit about Jane Fonda, and that's how I knew. That's how I knew that I needed to be like Jane, because I was like, these people are saying bad things, and so far everything that they say that they don't like, I end up liking. So I'm gonna be on Team Jane.
Everything in the world. Thank every goddess under the sun and in the sky for Chelsea Handler, because Chelsea Handler went, fuck getting married, ride some dick if you want to, but don't have their kids. And I was like, okay, Chelsea.
I love Chelsea Handler. I think
fucking love Chelsea. She saved me.
Yeah, and I think that she's another one who doesn't get the credit she deserves, and she probably won't for a while, because again, she's telling us to live, to not live the narrative we're being told to live. She's telling us to live for ourselves. And
I feel like this show, even with Dan being like a literal demon, is like, I'm feeling that now. Like, I'm feeling the whole thing about like, okay, was I also the cock block to every one of my mother's dreams? And then was I also just a vessel for them to pour in their unfulfillable life goals?
You know, and that's interesting that you say that, because there's a point where I, as a parent, was trying to emulate what my parents were doing, and then I realized, or what my parents did, and then I realized that doesn't work for me. One, I'm not married. Two, I didn't have an ounce of the career that they had in terms of like financial. And then it falls into that whole breaking the generational trauma, because there's a lot of things about the way my parents parented me where I didn't feel heard and I didn't feel supported, and it was told this is how you're supposed to be and you should be grateful kind of shit. I'm not saying it was perfect. I'm not saying that I didn't do bad things, but also as a
I
kid.
was perfect, so that's awkward.
But you know, because like when you're a kid, you do dumb shit, and so
Yeah.
to not. So what I had to do was, okay, so as my child grows, the dumb shit he did at 6 isn't like I can't hold that against him at 16. Like that's just not realistic. And sort of breaking those little moments where you're just like, okay, this is how I was treated and I don't like it. So I'm going to listen to what my kid needs and give them that. Harder to do for the generations before us, though, because there was still a lot of restrictions and lack of access to certain types of things. Not that I'm saying we have access to childcare and any of that shit,
no,
but now
we did not get better.
We only got better just a smidge. Not
and
enough
then they took it away this year.
They took it away this year. So
they just wiped it up.
Yeah. So it's like I was told by my grandparents, who were the silent generation, that I could do anything and be anything I wanted to be. It didn't matter. I was just as good as the boys. And for me, that was super powerful, because here's the generation who sort of upheld that narrative of like women should be in the kitchen. You know, Rosie, turn in your rivets, and then they're telling me you don't have to turn in your rivet. Keep going, girl.
So when your grandma told you that you could be anything, did you tell her that you don't want to be anything other than what you've been trying to be lately? Was that your response?
No, because that song didn't exist yet.
But here's the thing when it comes to like Nathan and Luke, and I think that this is actually what ends up bonding them in the show, even if it's not explicitly scripted out.
Okay.
Is I think what ends up bonding them together and then bonding with me is this like idea with Dan about like, so what did I do wrong? Like, what am I still getting punished for? Because like Luke has been punished by Dan literally since he breathed his first breath on the outside. Yeah. And then like Nate is still like just buddy. He's like, I'm playing basketball. I'm getting tutored. I'm fucking crashing cars and getting out of it like the privileged white guy that I am. Why aren't you happy, Dad? What am I still paying for?
Right.
And I ask myself all that all the time. Like, I will leave a conversation with a family member and I'll be like, what fucking old shit crept up into them today that I'm still paying for?
Yes. And that's part of the generational trauma, right? That we're trying to break, because it's not my fault. Whatever is going on in your head and how you're feeling and what you're doing is not my fault. I was not here for this. I did not do it. I did not participate. I did
not ask to be born.
I did not ask to be born. 100%. I did not ask to be born. Okay. And like,
I would not have. Knowing what I know now.
Right. And you really feel that with Lucas. You really feel his like, hey, this isn't my fault. I literally did not ask for any of this. My mom did the best that she could do, and you're still being a dick to me. Is Dan's relationship with Son secretly a metaphor about how the patriarchy is bad? Oh my God, that's brilliant. And maybe the answer is yes.
Yes. Annie has said on my show before, and it's last week's episode. No, it's the first Fireside episode. She is on last week's episode, but she has said on my show before, she's like, I do this show and I hang out with Natalie because the patriarchy is bad for everyone and someone has to say it.
Yes. And you should pose this as a question poll in your stories this week.
I will.
Because I think that's a really great point. Like,
I'm going to do a really cool double image of Lucas and Nate with Dan's angry ass face in the middle.
Because here's the thing, when I think about my life in the last 18 years, so many people have told me, because I had kids when no one else was having kids. I had kids when
Right.
everyone was going to the bars and partying, and then 10 years later I had kids. So then I got an influx from like the 31 to 35. I got an influx of text messages from people. I can't believe you did this by yourself. I'm so tired. Oh my God, I have so much respect for you now.
It's not
Oh my
helpful.
God,
You
not
should have
helpful.
respected me then.
But two, then comes the barrage of text messages of the parental battle, right? Like there's two ideologies fighting for each other because no one had the conversation about what having kids looks like, because we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to have that conversation, which is dumb at all. But then fast forward again, and it's like, no, so there was a brief moment between, for 5 years where I felt like shit because I had to do it by myself because everyone was like, this is so hard. Oh my God. And then now in hindsight, I'm just like, actually it was easier because I didn't have to fight with nobody, and I shared personal experiences about what it's like being a brownish woman in America, so because my child can pass. So now now he has that firsthand information rather than having to fight with him about my lived experience. He knows my lived experience to be true.
And I love that question, Annie. Because like literally there's so much to the relationship between Nate and Dan and Lucas and Dan.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is it's not good on either end. Sure, Nate gets to live in that beach house, I guess. But he has to live there with Dan. Like, at least Luke's working on those cars with Keith, and Keith probably has good music on the radio.
Wait. Never mind. Yes, Keith does have good music on the radio, and I love Keith, and we need more Keiths in the world.
We do need more Keiths in the world. And like, how about that line after like Dan shoves him? And Nathan goes, "You want to win this game, old man?" He goes, "I just want you to earn it. I just like you to be playing your best." And he's like, "You don't deserve my best game." And he just stands away from Dan and lets him make that shot, knowing that it'll haunt Dan for the rest of his life because he didn't earn that win. He was given that win. And he paid those motherfuckers to be like, well, the old dudes are down 88 points, so we're just going to make this last point the game-winning point. It's all going to come down to the next basket, everybody. Dan Slip was like, I will give $50,000 to whatever charity I forgot we were doing this for.
Okay. Can I tell you something?
What? Yeah.
So you know how everyone talks about Rory Gilmore and her reading list, and like everyone's obsessed about it?
Yeah.
About all the books she reads. So Lucas reads a lot, right?
Lucas always has a book. He's very deep. We covered that last week.
And so this week on one of the episodes, it might have been episode 6, where he's sitting in the bus and he pulls out Of Mice and Men, and it's like, okay, Steinbeck, I see you. I have an original print of Mice and Men. It's actually a
I remember crying to that book.
Second print of a first edition, but whatever.
I also reference that book a lot, like in everyday conversation. I'm like, damn.
It's a good book. And I love Steinbeck because he writes about the California that I remember as a child, which didn't fully exist anymore by that point, but still, like, I have glimpses of that because my grandparents lived in the country. Anyway, so I Googled Lucas Scott's reading list.
Is there one?
There is one on Goodreads.
Damn.
I was like, okay, because Rory gets all the attention for being
Rory gets all the fucking attention,
bookish, and all these things because she went to Yale, and everybody's like, Rory's so deep because she read Ayn Rand at 11. Like, Lucas is deep.
He's nice to his mom. We've seen him with like 3 books.
Yeah, the list isn't as long on Goodreads as Rory's, but I'm wondering if that's because maybe people weren't fully paying attention and grabbed every single book. I don't know. But I did love that I could find that. And I also love his relationship with his mom. I think they're adorable.
Oh, yeah. You asked a very important question that I think we glossed over for the comedy. And you asked if Nathan is his true self with Haley or if it's still part of the manipulation. I still think And it's all because of that look he gave Lucas when he hugged her. I was like, ooh, we're manipulating.
Yeah.
And good on Peyton for saying it. She's like, I'm breaking up with you. You were leading that girl on and fucking around with her. And he's like, oh, no. And she's like, it's even worse that you don't even like her.
Yeah. Yeah, because all you want, I don't know if this is true for you, but for me, all I want is to know that if you're kind of shitty now, you'll not be shitty in the future, and our relationship will drive you to be a better man. Like, that is a flaw I possess.
I like that you already wrapped it up in the flaw ribbon. I'm
working on it.
Bring to light that when we were doing grooming through time with Theo James and Stephen Moffat, that I said that the reason why I see men's potential instead of the 28-year-old moron right in front of me is because Henry kept telling Claire, I'll be a good man one day. One day I'm going to be that salt and pepper daddy. And like, you'll like me again, I promise. Like, daddy's coming back. He's coming back.
And now we're not going to get the second half of the book.
No, we're not getting. Everyone's so sorry. You're not getting the second half of that shitty show.
And they ended it in such a way where you're just like, this makes no sense. What's happening?
As always, it's because Stephen Moffat is selfish. And he could have done that entire book in 8 episodes, and he tried for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Because he's selfish.
It's true.
I get that. Like, I get the looking at you and being like, okay, so that sucked. That moment sucked. But I'm really banking on the fact that in like 3 years, something's going to like even out for you and you're going to be nice to me. Okay?
I mean, I'm hoping 3 months. Like, you get 3 months to get better, and then I'm out.
I'm out.
Out.
I believe that the men in my life run scared the moment that I start to make them a little bit better, because then all of a sudden it's a lot of, I don't know, it just really feels like you got a lot going on and you got a lot of shit on your plate, and like you're like going places or whatever, and like I don't know where I really fit in all of this, and then they're gone and you're like, were you ever here?
I've had those moments too. I've had those situations. I've had it all. Oh, we've been on this for an hour.
We have been on this for an hour.
Because you know how I know? Because Endgame started playing again. Remember how I sent you a voice memo? I said, Natalie, this is how much I respect our partnership. Endgame is on, and I'm going to sacrifice watching it so we can still go live.
Do you not have Disney Plus?
Oh, no,
Do you
I
not have
Disney
the house
Plus.
in your
No,
mouth?
I still have Disney Plus. I have the house
you
in my mouth.
You could watch it every day. You
but
watch the mouse in your house.
There's something about watching television and like stumbling upon stuff that you like. Or discovering new things.
You don't have to tell me. I love nothing more than to be flipping through the TV and stop my entire life for Selena. Anything for Selena's.
Like yesterday, I told you, I was like, oh, I'm going to get on and watch the 3 episodes yesterday so I can be prepared for today. And then I turned on the TV and Infinity War
Captain
was on.
America was on. Yeah, America's ass showed up.
Captain America was on, and I was like, well, I can do it tomorrow. I work from home. It's fine.
It's fine. America's ass. I might never see it again.
He just gets better with age. Oh,
him and Ryan Gosling from the hit movie, the Barbie movie. He and Chris Evans are in some
The Gray Man.
Yeah, and they got some like good sexual tension.
Listen, have you seen the trailers? I'm so
it keeps playing on my YouTube while I'm watching Critical Role. And I'm like, I was like, are they gonna kiss?
Netflix has got the big bucks to run it all the time. I'm so excited. I've watched the trailer so many times. I'm not just excited because it's Chris Evans, but I do enjoy it when he plays a bad guy.
How do I email Netflix that I only want to watch that movie if Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling kiss? Like, if they have like a I hate you kiss moment. I love a
tweet at them. Tweet. See if they'll respond to your tweet. Netflix, can you hear us? Can you sponsor us? Number Netflix. 1. Number 2, do they kiss in The Gray Man?
I need Ken to take his smooth looking ass, and I need him to angry kiss America's ass.
Did you see the post about if there's no scissoring in Barbie, then I'll be so disappointed?
Yes. I brought it up on Sunday on Cinemundo. when I was guesting on them. I was like, someone said if there's no scissoring in the Barbie movie, I don't want it. The Barbie, listen, tolerators, Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous fans, Annie, I need you to know the only thing, I wake up every day and I'm like, God, another day. But then I go, it's another day closer to that Barbie movie, though.
And I'm so pissed they're making us wait till 2023. How
2023.
dare you? And you know it's going to be this summer, and you're just dropping photos like...
Just like dropping little grainy photos of Margot Robbie. Making me think that Ryan Gosling's just going through some sort of weird depression where he dyed his hair at home. I'm like, what's going on with Ryan Gosling?
I can't wait. You have no idea. You have no idea. You have no idea. Also, if they don't include a black Barbie, I'm going to be fucking pissed.
Oh, I've looked up the IMDb list. There's like, I can't remember who it is, but there's a black Barbie.
Thank God.
It's not Tyra. It's not Tyra.
That's okay.
She's not reviving her fake Barbie role from Life Size.
That makes me sad. Oh, there's a lot of people in this movie. Holy shit, this movie is star-studded.
There's Zendaya's in it. Annie says she thinks that. I love Zendaya.
Liu, America Ferrera, Kate McKenna, Rhea Perlman, Emerald Fennell. Oh my God.
That IMDb has updated.
Kingsley Ben Adair, oh, he is fine.
When I'm sad in the middle of the day or like all day, I will go, I wonder what Zendaya and Tom Holland got going on.
They're so
TikTok cute. Reels. And I just watch like the same 4 videos of them.
Issa Rae, Scott Evans. Oh my God.
Oh, that's right. It was Issa Rae. I was like, ooh, that's a fucking huge one.
That's a big get.
That's a big get. Because she has something new coming out too. I feel like she has a freeform show coming out.
I think you're correct. Let me consult.
And you know I love a freeform teen drama.
Oh,
you know
Freeform is the CW of fucking 2020.
There's nothing that makes me more happy than a new freeform show. I'm like, oh, I'm about to get invested in some kid drama. Could you imagine the WB trying to do Pretty Little Liars? None of those girls would have gotten as naked as they did.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember when Freeform couldn't be ABC Family anymore because the Pretty Little Liars kept kissing one another?
So you know the history behind ABC Family, right? And the 700 Club and all that shit?
Yes, because I remember, as you know, I don't sleep.
Yeah.
So I would be watching Whose Line Is It Anyway? For hours.
Yeah, yeah.
And then all of a sudden the God music would start up and I'd be like, not the motherfucking 700 Club. And that's when I'd go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was a contractual obligation to keep it.
Yeah.
Which is
and they put it at like midnight.
Yeah. Hello. All of God's children.
Hello, all of God's children. I'm like, not today, 700 Club.
Not today.
You carry or nothing.
Listen, I already got my church fill for the day. Thanks. Right. I tuned into what the SCOTUS was doing, so I've got my religious fill. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And then the Pretty Little Liars started kissing one another, so the 700 Club was like, I'm out. This isn't even, where are those Seventh Heaven kids?
They're on ABC Family. Oh, same thing. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure I hit all my points that I wanted to tell you.
Dana's so fucking rude.
Oh yeah, Deb in episode 4, Deb and Dan's confrontation. Deb feels shut out of Nate's life. Dan is a bully and manipulative. Like that makes me sad for her because she's probably running away from Dan. Yeah. But the result of that is she's left her kid in the hands of a monster.
We didn't talk about one of the more poignant scenes of this 3-episode block. When Whitey and Peyton bond in a cemetery over their dead loved ones.
Yeah, that was sad.
That was sad. Whitey's a good guy, and he keeps trying to tell Dan.
Except when he says weird shit about the girls.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Whitey's a good guy, and he keeps trying to tell Dan that there aren't enough basketballs in the world to fill the holes in his heart. Like,
Whitey.
And I love that he's the only person that calls him Danny. Danny?
Oh, I didn't
Danny?
pick up on that. I'll have
Yeah,
to pay attention
he's the
the
only
next
one that calls
time.
him Danny.
Okay, I'll have to pay attention next time.
Shout out to Haley's poncho in episode 5. I had a visceral, like, sense memory to that poncho, and I was like, all I fucking wanted was that crochet poncho. It's so fucking cool, and
Do
it's
you
still real pretty.
do you remember when crocheted ponchos were like all the rage? And then there's that
Yes.
scene in Devil Wears Prada where Stanley Tucci hands Anne Hathaway a poncho, and she's like, a poncho, and he's like,
A
you'll
poncho.
wear what I hand you, and you'll like it.
Stanley Tucci is my god.
Oh, Stanley Tucci is everyone's favorite Italian.
So
Emily Blunt's sister-in-law, brother-in-law.
I didn't think that we would be at episode 5 and I would already be crying, but it was the Peyton and Whitey cemetery scene.
Yeah.
Because she's so lost and she has a boyfriend who doesn't even
Yeah, like where the fuck is her
her
dad?
Well, her dad's
I mean, I know
on
they
some
explained
cargo
it.
ship.
I know they explained it, but that makes me sad for her because it's like
they couldn't have another dramatic parent on the show. They got Keith, they got Karen, they got Dan, they got Deb.
we've got our fill of parent drama. We can't hang. It's fine.
What if they had one normal parent on the show and it's Peyton's dad? Actually, like when he does come, he's pretty chill. And so
I feel like Karen's pretty normal.
Right. They can't have like one chill dude in the background and then people are like, why is Peyton so fucked up?
Yeah.
Her dad is so chill. So he's got to be gone.
Is Karen pregnant in real life at this point? Because the angles that they keep putting her at, I'm just like,
you know what?
Do you have a baby belly?
It was before I could notice a woman's baby bump and then Google her. So I don't know if Maura Kelly had a baby during One Tree Hill.
I'm gonna look at the trivia right now.
Look it up. But I started crying
because the angles are very strategic. I noticed that in episode 5. I was like,
maybe someone's really short. How tall is Chad Michael Murray?
He's like 6 feet tall, isn't he?
I don't know. I haven't met him.
Oh my gosh,
maybe
she was originally cast as Kit Keller in A League of Their Own. That would have been a completely different movie. But she hurt her ankle on the cutting edge, so she had to back out.
Oh,
could you imagine? I know The Cutting Edge is a great movie.
A fucking great movie. Oh. The Cutting Edge.
We should cover that in our one-offs.
Put it on our list.
Because does it hold up? Is it still comfy?
Is it still comfy?
Okay, IMDb doesn't tell me, so I'm gonna hit the Google. Moira Kelly. Fun fact: Moira is what my child's father wanted to name because they told us it was a girl for like the first at the 20-week ultrasound. Yeah. And then like I was high risk pregnancy, so I had to go back quite often, and so we thought it was a girl for a solid month. And he's like,
my father.
What about the name Moira? I was like, Moira? He's like, yeah.
My mouth
like
can't
say Wendy, it. Moira, Angela, Darling. So
Moira,
like you have Peter Pan syndrome, and you literally want to name our child after your Peter Pan syndrome.
I have to think, like with Dayton, I have to think out the syllables when I say Moira. Like I can't just say it off the cuff.
Okay.
What was it?
Wikipedia is that helpful because it says that she got married in 2000 and they have 2 children, but it doesn't say years. I think she birthed a child in 2003 because you know how they do the pilot and then it could be a while before the show gets picked up.
Oh yeah, Haley wasn't at the original recording of the pilot. They had to like cut her in. Like they had cut, or no, she got recast. The girl who was the original Haley, they recast her with Joy.
Oh, interesting.
I know so much stuff now because of the drama queens.
Oh, you call her Joy, but she's Bethany Joy.
They call her Joy on the podcast, so I'm assuming that she goes by Joy.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Just like Chris Pratt doesn't go by Chris. That's not his name.
Chris. You know who's never invited to this show? Fucking Chris Pratt. I need everyone to know that. Someone tried to tell me that Chris Pratt was a good guy, and I was like, don't fucking believe it. And then I got to say my conspiracy theory.
Well, what's your conspiracy theory? Do I know this?
Sure. I don't know. Is my Chris Pratt conspiracy theory.
I'm ready.
But it's true for a lot of other instances that I just can't remember.
Okay.
So you have a chubby looking goofy guy.
Oh, yeah. When they start working out, worry.
Right. You can't trust them once they get fit. You
Yeah.
can't trust them. Start checking their phone. Be that lady. Because like, and
Put a tracker on
I
him.
knew because he was so cute as Andy on Parks and Rec, and then they're
He
like, he's
really
gonna be in a
was.
Marvel movie, and I was like, no, they're gonna make him get abs, and then he'll be an asshole.
So,
Like guys that already have abs, you
different.
can run the gamut. Maybe
Yeah.
not an asshole, maybe they are, but chubby guys who were made fun of for being chubby, and then all of a sudden they're fit one day, they're like, I'm getting on Tinder and upgrading everything in my life.
Do you remember him in Bride Wars? He was the asshole.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's not far off. But anyway,
He's never invited.
Anna Faris recently came out and talked about how she's still slightly recovering from that divorce because of the after effects from it.
Yeah. Well, and now people probably ask her every time he says something stupid. They're like, was he like that when he was fat and married to you?
Yeah.
Like, and again,
and my other favorite thing was how he was like, religion, blah, blah, dumb. I'm not religious. But then in a post a few posts earlier,
selfies with his pastor,
talking about how he consulted with his pastor. And you're just like, wait a minute, which is it?
Fucking moron. And then the next day he's like, I don't even like being called Chris. It's like, what are we doing?
Maybe he fired his PR team.
Maybe. I'm like, what are we doing, Chris?
Okay, can we have a moment for Minkus?
Yeah, he was on the Drama Queens episode that I listened to today. I love Minkus. I love Mouth. That boy.
This poor actor is never going to have a character that people, by a real name, everyone's just going to remember him.
He says that Minkus is still the one that holds Try and True, and he was really only in a handful of episodes of Boy Meets World. Like, we really think that he was in every episode, and he's like, I was in a couple episodes in the first season, y'all.
Yeah.
And they kept bringing me back every once in a while.
Yeah. And he got brought back for the Girl Meets World, too.
Yeah. I love him. He loves rap. He loves to dance.
Okay,
the actor does. I learned all these things about him today, and he just seems like a very kind soul. And like Mouth goes through it in the show.
Yeah,
there's a lot that happens around Mouth and to Mouth, and then he has to adjust to the fact. So like Mouth is definitely the friend where it's like you're watching your friend get cool, and you're like, where do I fit in my friend's life anymore? Not that like Lucas is a dick about it or anything, because like I feel like that's only a trope they play out with women. It's like, I'm pretty and cool now, so
yeah. I love seeing him on the show. I love that he's the commentator for the basketball games. I just think he's such a great character, and I
love him.
Yeah, I really appreciate that he's there.
It's truly the background characters for me that'll make a show. So him, Skills, there are a lot of
you keep talking about Skills. I still don't know who Skills is. Like, has he been in more than one episode?
No, but eventually he gets his due diligence, and I love him.
Now listen, IMDb says that Chad Michael Murray is only in 132 episodes. What is that about? Like Bethany Joy Lenz is in 187. That's literally every single episode.
He does not miss a fucking whole season of that show. That would be like 2 seasons of the show.
Yeah, so what is that about, I wonder?
I mean, it ran for a bunch of seasons, so maybe if
9,
if he misses like one every
couple
once in a while, it could equal 50, but I still feel like that's outlandish.
Yeah, I don't know. Because we both know the only reason why you convinced me that I could do this was because of Chad Michael Murray.
I love him. I love Mouth. Another thing. I feel like it's the later years when everything goes off the rails. Those are my favorite years, Annie. When they do the time jump and everything does go off the rails. And I love it. It's the best. Perfect television. Well, because here's the thing too, and they talk about this.
So do we see them graduate high school? Like, murder isn't.
Why would David Duchovny be in all of the X-Files? I want to fuck David Duchovny so hard.
You remember that song, David Duchovny, Why Don't You Love Me? Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
So do we
But,
see them graduate high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
So another thing that they do really well in the show is background tension.
Mm.
Because when Karen and Luke were having a moment during the basketball game, like Dan had clearly have just been shitty, and Deb's just like on the edge, like looking at Lucas and Karen, like, and I was like, my God, the background acting in this show is so fucking good.
Yeah.
It's
it
just
seems
so
like
fucking good.
Yeah, and it relevant. Like, have you ever been to a theater show where they try to do background acting and you're like, no, this isn't what you
fix
should
your
be.
face.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Luckily, I mean, are they the most talented actors and actresses I've ever seen? No. But am I having a really great fucking time? Yes.
I mean, it's okay that they're not the most talented.
And Thursday's
But
really
sorry, go ahead.
Thursday is really busy, so I think instead of watching my 3 episodes on Thursday, I get to watch them tomorrow.
Ooh. I was gonna say I'm impressed with Chad Michael Murray because you know on Gilmore Girls he was just like a privileged.
He was there for 20 minutes.
Well, and the character he plays doesn't require a lot of depth or like actual like craft, right? And like with Lucas, he does kind of have to get deep from like that episode, like the episode we talked about, I think it's episode 5 when he wants to change his last name and he's feeling all of these things about his mom and her career and all these things in her life. And, you know, he actually had to like dig for that. And I think he did a good job.
All right. Do we want to do our wrap up?
Yeah.
Because, of course, around the hour mark, we went, wow, we've been doing this an hour. And then we stretched it to an hour and a half.
Every time.
Like the latest season of Stranger Things. I didn't realize because I was in like a coma or I was junk journaling during the last episode or something. But my sister was like, why the fuck was the last episode of season 4 of Stranger Things 2.5 hours long? She goes, all of those episodes were a fucking mini movie. I was like, I don't know. I watched them all in one weekend. I don't know.
That's what I heard. I heard they were all like 2-hour-ish type of situation. And so I haven't watched, you know this, but I'll tell the world. I haven't watched Stranger Things yet because my son was like, it's really intense and you're not gonna be able to hang with the cliffhangers and the intense. So wait until it's all done. So that's what I've done. So I will binge watch it on vacation. And
I will let you know, and you all can make speculations in my DMs. But if one character dies on Stranger Things, just the one. If this one character dies in this last season of Stranger Things, I will take to my bed and I will never return. I will just take to my bed.
Sad for all the projects we have lined up.
You need to fucking call those Duffy brothers or whatever the fuck their names are.
You ruined my career because you ruined my creative partner.
Excuse me. She asked for one thing.
One thing. You couldn't give her one thing and now you ruined my career? You've ruined my career because you ruined my creative partner.
I hope that the Stranger Things season comes out before the Barbie movie because the Barbie movie will be the only thing to get me back out of bed.
Wait, I thought all of them were out now. I thought the series was done. There's still more coming out?
No, there's one more season.
I thought season 4
I also thought that this was the last season.
Oh my God.
No, it's the penultimate. See, that word I made you look up.
Penultimate.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it again.
Okay, here we go.
So usually we wrap up with both of us talking about what we're hoping for next, but I've already seen the show. So what are you hoping for next?
I don't know. Okay, so I appreciate that in episode 6, they all sort of have this moment where they bond, the kids, and they sort of create a relationship. I'd like to see that grow.
Okay.
Also, I'd like Dan to die in a car accident. My apologies to anybody who lost a loved one in a car accident, but I can't see
Peyton.
I can't see any other way to get rid of Dan other than like having him die in a car accident. Jules, because he's not going to leave. Like he has to die. Like he's not going to stop Jules, unless he's dead.
I don't remember what season it is. I know it's not this season, but there is one season after the 5-year jump. I know it's after the 5-year jump.
Okay.
Where the universe literally does everything it can to try and kill Dan,
Oh,
and the
okay.
fucker just won't die
So he's a
because he's Satan.
cockroach. Because he's a
He's
cockroach.
literally Satan, and he literally will not die. And they try everything. They
Just
try
like
everything.
just like the patriarchy, it won't die, even though
It
we're
just won't
trying.
die.
We're doing all the things.
Are we going to start or go for it?
And I'd like to see Karen and Deb develop a relationship. I think that'd be really
Yeah.
sweet.
I love it. I love Deb. Do we want to start our Are You Comfy wrap up now, or do we want to wait until we pull the decision on that?
Until we've made that more concrete. I mean, whatever you feel, however you feel.
I want everyone to know that I am comfy.
Yeah.
Okay. Brooke says things about vibrators and it's cool, and Peyton's angsty, and I was angsty that one time in my bedroom with scissors, and and I'm very comfy, and I'm having a really great fucking time. It's not the Time Traveler's Wife where I was mad the entire time and I was like, why did I read this book and where was my mother?
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of all the ways I've been groomed so far. I can just look at Nathan Scott and be like, stop gaslighting Peyton. And then Peyton yells at him and I was like, there we go. I don't have to be uncomfy. She's not 6 years old and taking it.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you comfy?
I think so too. I think I'm comfy too. Because like I said, I haven't seen the show before, but there's something about it that feels like a big warm blanket of like comfort.
Big warm hug.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell everyone what's going on with you, and then I'll tell everyone what's going on with me.
Friends, this week on Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous, as I've mentioned before, I'm the host and producer of Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous, where we analyze pop culture through the lens of race or gender, and sometimes both. This week, we are getting into Normal People, the book by Sally Rooney, and we do a side-by-side comparison of the Hulu original series that was released in April of 2020. Perfect timing, if you ask me. And we get into it, and it's all about, discussing sex and what that looks like. And
now I do remember what Normal People is about. I thought it was conversations with friends. I was like, I thought you told me to watch that show recently.
Also,
no, I watched Normal People. It's fucking hot.
It's so good. Also, Conversations with Friends by the same author. Really good book, really good series with Taylor Swift's fiance, Joe Alwyn. But yeah, you can catch me. That's what we're doing this week. And you can catch me on Instagram, either here on Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous or my other page, the Julia Washington, THE Julia Washington. Super accessible in the DMs.
Yeah. My name is Natalie Katona. I'm your host of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before, which is a look into everyday misogyny. That is my new log line for the podcast.
I love it. I really do love that, by the way.
Thank you. And last week, Annie was on the podcast. I'm going to do shout outs. Annie is a wonderful artist who designed our logo, and she makes me feel better about my talents and when I art. And she's amazing, so check her out. She's in the comments, AKC. And Mario, he's got good shit going on. Yep. He's fun. And Mario you should also follow him.
Yeah, he does movie reviews. He grades movies for all of us, and so that helps you make that determination of whether or not you want to see that movie. And his movie reviews are clear and succinct, which is really important because some people get hail of the wordy.
Yeah. So make sure that when we're saying people's names that you go and you check them out because they're supporting us and we support them. Yeah. And you should support our collective energies.
Yes.
This week on To All the Men I've Tolerated Before, I have my good friend Natalie New on. She runs a Discord for people who are in the Women Plus community and the LGBTQAI plus community. And it's a Discord specifically for Dungeons and Dragons and other RPGs where people want to play games without the presence of men. Ooh. So we are talking about gatekeeping in the gaming culture because they're not nice. I need everyone to know it's not just the Big Bang Theory. I get mad because I like to play Dungeons and Dragons and I like to roll dice and I like to make really bad cosplay And people are like, oh, thank God that you hang out with the safe crew of men. No. So I'm pulling the plug on that. So that episode comes out on Thursday. I'm excited about it. But I also feel like everyone's going to come out of their basement to yell at me.
That's all right. We'll come and support you full force.
So that's it. And this has been One Tree Hill season 1, but episodes 4 through 6. Next week we'll be here every Tuesday at 10. And we're doing 7 through 9. And thank you for counting it out for me. And next week, we don't know what date yet, but it'll be next week. Both of us saw the Elvis movie, and we have shit to talk about Elvis. And I will sing Suspicious Minds.
I support you in that. We're also going to talk about how he a cultural appropriator.
We're going to talk a lot of shit about Elvis. Mm-hmm. So if you want to feel good about Elvis one last time, watch Lilo and Stitch before next week.
Yeah.
That's my plug. I'm going to go ahead and end it. Have a good night, everybody. Love you. Thanks for being here.
See y'all in the DMs.
See y'all in the DMs.